Heavenly Father, in the mighty name of Jesus, Yeshua, Yahweh, the one and only true God, I come before you right now with a heavy heart but unwavering faith. Lord, we stand at the edge of something terrifying. I'm asking for a miracle before this deadline hits tonight. Whatever President Trump is planning against Iran, I pray it does not take place. Let wisdom prevail. Let cooler heads win. I pray protection over our soldiers who are ready to go into harm's way. Guard their lives, their minds, and their families back home. I also pray for our enemies, the people of Iran. Soften their hearts. Soften the hearts on both sides so that no more blood has to be shed. Shield us all from any false flag operations or deceptions that could drag us deeper into chaos. And Father, I lift up every single person listening or watching right now, and everyone who will see this later. Cover them with your peace that passes all understanding. And Lord, please protect this live from any unjustful flags, and let it be heard by everyone without interruption. In the mighty name, the matchless name of Jesus, Yeshua, Yahweh, the Alpha and the Omega, the one and only true God. Amen. Guys, we are living through a very delicate, crucial, and possibly even historical moment in time right now. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. Oil prices are spiking. The global economy is feeling the strain, and the world is holding its breath as the clock ticks down to President Trump's 8 p.m. Eastern deadline for Iran to reopen that critical waterway. I've been following President Trump's statements closely, and here are his latest posts on Truth Social, verbatim, so you can see exactly where his head is at. Most recently today, this is what Donald Trump says, quoting, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want this to happen, but it probably will." Unquote. On Easter Sunday, quote, Donald Trump, this is quoting him now, "Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it." Many explanation marks. Open the effing strait, but he said the whole word. You crazy bastards. He said the whole word. Or you'll be living in hell. Just watch, in caps. Praise be Allah. President Donald J. Trump. Praise be Allah. A Christian president mocking Islam. You can't make this stuff up. The other one, this one, the post right before that, quoting Donald Trump. "Remember when I gave Iran 10 days to make a deal or open up the Hormuz Strait? Time is running out. 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them. Glory be to God. President Donald J. Trump." Thank you for the gifts, Chris and Gigi, and I believe Jazz. Thank you. Donald Trump gave a deadline tonight, guys, for 8 p.m. for that strait to be open. We actually have neighbors of Iran are actually trying to, work behind the scenes and try to get Iran to make a deal. Iran says that there's no talks being done. Donald Trump says there are talks being done. And then you got Donald Trump saying the offers are getting better from Iran. And then you hear Iran saying, well, in order for us to open the Strait up, the war has to end. Okay, Donald Trump said there's not going to be any regime change. That's what he said. But then in his post, he said there's already been a regime change. So what is it? We don't quite understand. He's saying one thing and another thing is taking place. Let's pause on that Easter morning one for a second. On the day we celebrate the resurrection of our Lord and Savior, the President of the United States chooses to post profanity-laced threats, calls Iranian leaders crazy birds, and ends with praise be Allah. I don't know about you, but I find that audacious, bordering on shocking, especially coming from a man who has positioned himself as a defender of Christian values. I first caught this detail watching Tucker Carlson recently. I was not aware of this before. But during the 2025 inauguration, President Trump did not place his hand on the Bible when he took the oath of office. Every other president in modern history has followed that tradition. Tucker pointed it out and asked the honest question, why wouldn't you? He suggested it wasn't an accident, that it might reflect a deeper rejection of the limits on human behavior that Scripture lays out. I've been chewing on that ever since. Look, I've been saying, guys, from the very beginning that this crisis, that I'm afraid things could spiral into desperation for both the United States and that other country that has already taken some pretty serious hits. If the strait stays closed much longer, we're looking at worldwide financial crisis, energy prices through the roof, supply chains collapsing, ordinary families feeling the pain at the pump and at the grocery store. That kind of pressure can force even the strongest leaders to consider the unthinkable, the use of nuclear weapons. What exactly is Donald Trump talking about? What does he mean when he says a whole civilization will be lost in one night? Actually, he was quoted saying 4 hours. If the deadline's not met by 8, apparently the bombing's going to start right then. What is he going to do? Is he going to start taking out just bridges and power plants, which is, by the way, war crimes? He is literally threatening the unaliving of millions of innocent people right now, and he's doing that in front of the entire world. Because here's the cold reality, guys. If Donald Trump starts bombing civilian power plants and bridges in Iran, Iran has already signaled it will hit back at its neighbors. Dubai, one of the most peaceful, modern, and beautiful areas in the entire Middle East, could suddenly find itself in the crosshairs of retaliation. Escalation breeds escalation. The president is clearly feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders right now. When he says an entire civilization may end tonight, I have to ask, what does that mean? Is he talking regime change, total destruction of infrastructure, or something darker? That if he triggers a massive Iranian retaliation, or worse, if nuclear options enter the conversation, the entire world will turn against us, allies, adversaries, everyone. And that brings me to something I've been wrestling with personally. his spiritual advisor, Paula White. She's been with him for years. Heads up the White House Faith Office now, and just a few days ago at the White House Easter event, she stood in front of the evangelical leaders and compared President Trump's life, his betrayals, his legal battles, his assassination attempts, to the same suffering of Jesus Christ. Let that sink in. She said things like, "No one has paid the price like you have paid the price," and called it a familiar pattern that our Lord and Savior showed us. That kind of language is not just over the top, it's theologically explosive, guys. It's drawn sharp backlash from black theologians and many mainstream Christians who call it morally dangerous and bordering on blasphemy. But this isn't new with Paula White. She's a prosperity gospel preacher through and through, the name it and claim it theology that ties God's favor to wealth and success. She once publicly prayed for all satanic pregnancies to miscarry. She's declared the White House holy ground and said that to oppose Donald Trump is to oppose God himself. She's had multiple marriages, by the way, financial controversy swirling around her ministry, and a reputation for dramatic supernatural claims. For a man who just skipped the Bible at his own inauguration and is now issuing apocalyptic sounding threats on Easter, having a spiritual counselor who blurs the line between political loyalty and messianic imagery raises serious questions for any Bible-believing Christian. I'm not on here to attack anyone's faith. I'm simply laying it all out the way I see it, raw, honest, and with deep concern. We need real wisdom above everything right now. Not clever sound bites or spiritual hype. A miracle is still possible. Prayer still moves mountains, and I believe the God who parted the Red Sea can still part the waters of conflict before it's too late. You know what, guys? Let me get a 1 in the chat if you think that when Donald Trump says that he's going to get rid of an entire civilization tonight, give me a 1 if you think that's nuclear, and give me a 2 if you just think it's a lot more bombs. So 1, it's going to be nuclear, or 2, it's just going to be a huge bombing campaign. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of 1s. I got a couple 2s. 2, 1. Let's mix up. Big mix. We got a 3. I guess that's neither. 3s. Honestly, guys, right now, I really can't imagine him using nuclear weapons. I'm afraid that somebody else is going to, though, tonight. Remember in the beginning of this war, Donald Trump is supposedly anointed by Jesus Christ. This is what soldiers are saying. This is what's been being reported, that he has been anointed by Jesus Christ to light the fire in Iran to usher in Armageddon. If that is true, let that sink in for a minute. If that is true, guys, then there is no end until it's the end. Armageddon. There is no end unless it is the end. Period. I will tell you this, when I first look, the Donald Trump, the assassination attempt, I really thought, you know what, this guy is being brought in by God, man. He is meant here for this time period. I believe that he lost the his second term election. I think that was 2020. He lost the 2020 election because he was supposed to be for this moment in time, this moment in history. And I think about that for a minute, guys. You know, God is authority above all, okay? God is authority above all. And nothing happens without him knowing it's going to happen. Is Donald Trump here for this moment right now? And Armageddon is going to take place. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. If we end up using nuclear warheads by any means, meaning tactical or any other kind, it'd probably be tactical if we did. But if we do that, oh my Lord, guys, you have no idea. The United States will not be safe. You will have an entire world turn its back on you. Not even just that, they will come after you. Thank you, Barbie, for the gifts. Thank you, Zeroslaw? Or Zerosli? Zeri? I can't even pronounce it. Zeri. I'll call you Zeri. Thank you. And thank you with all the emojis. I see the alien head. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys and girls. All gifts go towards me keeping my site running, Legion 183. It's where you can post your content. And you don't got to worry about getting shadow banned or censorship. You could actually post stuff that tells the truth without hiding behind for entertainment purposes only. It's free. It always will be free. And it's there if you guys want to check it out. It is a very good website. But I can't lie, guys. I'm worried. I'm worried. Let's see a 1 in the chat if you're worried. Give me a 1 if you're worried. Give me a 2 if you're not. I mean, if you have genuine anxiety, like legit anxiety, I do too. I do too. And I'll tell you what, I've done many lives, guys. Many lives. And I've talked to people. I've asked the same things about, do you feel that we're on the cusp of something huge happening? And everybody says yes. Everybody says yes. That's one thing everybody is pretty, in agreement with. That something bad is about to happen, and we just don't know what it is. Is tonight that feeling? Is tonight that feeling? Hey Jazz, since we got a lot of people in here, do you mind if I mod you? Nuclear fallout, nuclear chaos, fallout, worried, 100%, 100%. Are we 1 minute from midnight? Well, the doomsday clock went ahead. I think it is. I think that, didn't it go to like 1 or 2 minutes before it actually hits midnight? Isn't that it? Hey Jazz, I'm just modding you just in case, because there's a lot of people in here. So I figured I'd just mod you just in case. I appreciate it. Love you. Sorry. I just want to help man out a little bit here, because there's quite a few people in here. Is Clover in here? I don't know if Clover's in here or not. I'm not sure. Oh, Jazz is heading out. Okay. Good show, Michael. I appreciate that, Crazy Wheels. I'll tell you what, Crazy Wheels. Do you mind if I give you a mod just in case? Let me mod you, buddy, just in case. Because I trust you. You've been in here a lot. Just in case. But I want to talk a little bit about the consequences, guys. if this actually takes place. I mean, look, let's get one thing straight right out of the gate. If the United States ever actually greenlit a nuclear strike on Iran, or even just went full send conventional on their power plants and civilian bridges, we wouldn't be talking about limited military action. We'd be talking about lighting the fuse on a regional bonfire that turns into a global massive storm. So fast that it would make your head spin. I'm not here to clutch pearls or play moral philosopher. I'm just laying out the cold, ugly consequences as I see them. Because pretending otherwise is for people who never cracked a history book open or balance of power spreadsheet. The immediate body count, a single tactical nuke, say something like 50 or 10 to 50 kiloton range, dropped on a hardened site, like let's say Fordo, wouldn't just vaporize the target. It would glass a chunk of central Iran. It would unalive tens of thousands outright and irradiate hundreds of thousands more within hours. Fallout doesn't respect borders. Prevailing winds would push that stuff straight across the Persian Gulf and into oil fields of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and UAE. Power plants, conventional bunker busters or cruise missiles, barrages on or the grid nodes around Tehran would trigger cascading blackouts across the country of 90 million people. Hospitals would lose power. That would mean dialysis machines stop. Water treatment plants go dark. Refrigerated foods spoil. We're talking preventable death in the hundreds of thousands within weeks. Not just from bombs, but from the simple fact that modern civilization collapses without electricity. In civilian bridges, those beautiful functional spans over the Quran or the highways feeding Tehran, smash those and you don't just slow down the Revolutionary Guard. You trap civilians trying to flee. You choke off aid convoys and turn every secondary road into an unalived zone for looters and militias. It's not about precision warfare. It's turning a functioning, if theoretical, society in the Mad Max sequel overnight. Now the strategic blackout. Because Iran isn't some paper tiger waiting to get curb stomped, their toolkit is nasty and already pre-positioned, close to the Strait of Hormuz for even a month. Something they can do with a handful of anti-ship missiles, speedboats, and mines, and you spike global oil prices to $300 to $400 a barrel, that's not inflation. That's the U.S. economy getting kicked illegally pretty much, while Europe freezes and Asia grinds to a halt. China, which buys about 90% of Iran's oil, doesn't sit on its hands. It starts moving carrier groups and cutting deals with Russia for alternative routes. Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen, all of them get the green light to rain drones and rockets on U.S. bases. And then the country that begins with an I and ends with an L, they're going to get it. We're not talking Hollywood fireworks. We're talking sustained campaigns that overwhelm Iron Dome and Patriot batteries through sheer volume. This could get really, really scary, guys. Really, really scary. And you know that in NATO right now, Trump the way he's acting right now, there are NATO countries that will not participate in this. And the crazy part is Trump wasn't even asking for like them to send in ammunitions or anything like that, planes. He just wanted pavement. He wanted to be able to land planes and refuel in their locations, and they straight up said no. They don't want no part in it. And now Trump is saying to NATO that America is going to leave NATO. I don't know what President Trump, like, we're not God. The United States is not like able to take on the entire world. I don't. I'm a proud American. I'm not gonna lie, but we are not unbeatable, and that is fact right there. All empires could fall, and they usually do. And it's scary, guys. This is really, really scary what's going on right now. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that he said that from 8 p.m. tonight, and that is Eastern Standard Time, until midnight, there it would take place. So whatever he's going to do, if there's not a deal, like really, really soon, whatever he's going to do is going to start at 8 p.m. sharp, and it'll be over at 12 a.m. is what he said. He said it would take 4 hours. That's it. 4 hours. We got Katie. Let's bring Katie up here. Let's see what she says. Hello, Kate.
Hello. Thank you for accepting my request. It's and I know he's got a lot of advisors, and I'm not understanding. I think he's got an ego the size of who knows what, maybe Saturn. I don't know. But the thing is that he's overstepping his boundaries, and that is very terrifying. It is, and for our allies to drop out like that, it is quite concerning to me. I don't think it would be smart for any country to set off a nuke, because they're. So when you say, "Do you worry?" Yes, I think it's not comforting, but it's fascinating to see that a lot of people are paying attention to this, and there's going to be fallout, and it's going to affect everybody. And then he's bringing in oil, and the Venezuelans were like dancing in the streets, but then they got another dictator. He took them out too, took their oil, didn't feel bad about it. Um, I guess I'm just hoping. My personal thing is negotiations. Like, why can't we come up with a workaround or like a solution for some negotiations that don't involve this type of crisis per se?
I completely agree with you. I completely feel what you're feeling, and I voted for Donald Trump as well. I did the same thing. I thought that there was going to be change. I mean, the
Well,
Biden administration.
oh.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I thought the Biden administration really did some damage by for me. It was all about the illegal immigrants coming into our country, and I wanted them. I wanted that stop. They were taking our resources. I can't say I agree with the way Trump is going about things when it comes to that. It's a lot more severe than I thought that it would be, and I'm just telling you right now, I feel like this country has just turned into a dictatorship, and that we don't care, or at least Trump doesn't care what the world thinks. He don't care about opinions in his own government. He don't care about anything. If he wants to do something, he just does it. He doesn't even ask anybody What do you think about
Yeah.
this? It's scary.
And it's ironic that he took out, for lack of better words, two dictators, and the country is dancing in the street, but at the same time, he's displaying a little bit of that. Am I ashamed that I voted? No, I'm not. Voting is a privilege. But I'm just wondering, like, he needs to pull back on the gas. He needs to pull back a little. I don't think we should be involved with some things. I don't know if that's a smart point or not, but I would be more worried about like China or Russia. Makes me kind of wonder what's going on over there. But all these allies are like, we don't want to have anything to do with you, and they just dropped out.
Yeah.
I try to stay up with the news, so I may be wrong, and that's okay.
No, I'm worried too about China and Russia. More so China than Russia because Russia right now, I mean, they really got their hands full with Ukraine right now, and they've spent a lot of money. They've had a lot of casualties. But China hasn't
Yeah,
done anything in so long, and they've been doing nothing but perfecting their military to defeat the United States. And we're at a very vulnerable moment right now. And this could be the moment that China really steps up and does something. They might
yeah,
want to give
they've
us some
got
of that oil.
yeah, but from what I read, and I don't know, we have a significantly larger military forces than China. We just do. I live in Alaska, so maybe we get delayed news. I don't know, but it is concerning to me. But it's also concerning that I wonder what is he going to do next? And then you got your I call them midterms. That's college. Sorry about that. Um, I'm wondering what the VP is thinking. Like, who's gonna if something happens, like a unaliving to his president. Um, is Vance gonna step up, and then who's gonna come in as a second uh, assistant or VP? And I predicted this years ago, and that I thought, okay, this is going to be rough. We're going to have what I call a civil uprising, and then now we're having race wars, and it's very saddening and concerning to me. I do understand it, but I don't. If that makes sense.
I don't think any of us understand anything that's going on in his mind right now. I really don't. If you look at his language and he's talking about ending an entire civilization and
Yeah,
whatnot, how do you do that? There's only one way to do that, and you're not going to
yeah.
end it without a nuclear weapon.
And I don't appreciate. I'm not a Puritan. Okay, I am a Christian, but I think they said he's the first president that uses profanity in his speeches, and I find that, hey, there's kids watching here. We don't need to be encouraging that. We don't need to be doing that. I mean, I don't want my kid listening to that. And I know they're going to hear it anyway at school. But the thing is that if you're a chief and commander, you're in a position of control. I feel like you have the ability to uphold your honor and integrity.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And the other language that he used when he says, "Praised be Allah," that right there, we have. Listen, I'm a Christian as well, but I have met so many Muslims, and they are wonderful people. I do not have anything against those people at all. We just have different beliefs, but they are the most
Right.
respectful. They're very family oriented. They're great people. And for him to say that, I mean, we got a lot of
Yeah.
Muslims living here in our
I
country.
think I think he's thinking of like the extremists or the martyrs. But like I agree with you that the majority, it's not like that. I talk to them every day, and sometimes there's a language barrier, but we work through it. And they're perfect. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. My ear's bad or my headphones not working. Can you say that a little? It might be my. I just try to blame it on myself. And they're like, oh, okay. And they'll say it a little slower. and we worked through it. And I am wondering, like, what is what is he doing? I don't think anybody knows. And here's another thing. You don't, if you're going to be a strategist, or is it a strategist? Sorry, I have broken ribs right now. You wouldn't announce your plans. You would just come in and do it. Now, does that sound harsh? Yes, but that's just the way military works. But I wouldn't recommend spending trillions of dollars on taxpayers to get involved in something that we're going to be paying for.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about that, and I think it was last night or today, we bombed that island. The island that where they were thinking the Marines were going to rush it. Maybe, just maybe Trump is saying, trying to scare them and think we're going to attack the power plants, and then there's going to be a sudden
Yeah, I heard that.
attack on
Yeah,
that island. You know what I mean? So maybe
yeah.
he's saying maybe that's his strategy right there is doing that.
Which one are you talking about? If I can ask,
Let me
because
look up
I
what
heard about Greenland. I heard about Greenland, and it's like, why would you announce that? You know?
it's the island right off of Iran. It's where they have oil refineries, they got military bases, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, what
Okay.
is it? Let me
I guess I'm not
look the
sure where
island
that
name
part
up.
is.
I'm looking at island name up right
I'm
now.
trying to picture it in my head. I'm like, okay, let me look at my global map. Like, ah. But I don't. I know that it's interesting that when those, I think it was two soldiers got shot down, and they were hiding. I mean, they're trained. They're highly trained. Um, they put, sad but maybe true, they put numbers on their head, meaning that were they giving out rewards to return them, or were they giving out rewards to do you know what?
I think it's Kaharg Island or Karg Island. It's Kharg Island. I believe that's the island
Oh,
that we're
okay.
talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. That's the island right there. So maybe he'll just attack that and not. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. He is screaming to the world, hey guys, hello everybody, I'm about to commit war crimes. You know what I mean? Because that's
Yeah,
exactly
that's
what that
true.
is. If he bombs civilian power plants and
Yeah,
versus.
you shouldn't be. You shouldn't. That's like a war crime. That's a war crime. There's a treaty. You should not be going after civilians. Unfortunately, it can happen. Yes, but you're not going to purposely, do that if you can help it. My dad was a fighter pilot with the U.S. Air Force Academy, so he wouldn't talk about anything. You just don't talk about it. It's classified. Now, did he believe in it all the time? Probably not, but that was his job. He's passed away, but not from war. He just passed away. Um, so it is very frightening. It is frightening. I am not a vet. I'm a military brat. So let me just make sure that's clear. But I'm very interested in politics and what's going on in the world. So that's all.
We got someone in the chat there mentioning about the 25th Amendment. Call Congress now. That's a real thing. And I'm not sure what that is, but I think it's something about getting our president out. And I will tell you this right now. You were talking about like JD Vance earlier. JD
Yeah,
Vance, Donald Trump is not even taking advice from him anymore. Donald Trump is completely being dictated by that little country the size of New Jersey. That's what's going on right now, and that's who I'm afraid is going to light the lamp with a nuclear weapon, and it's going to
I
come
was
down on us. I'm
I was
telling you,
under the.
it is
Oh,
that
sorry.
country right there that cannot be contained. They are radical. I mean, they sit there, and if you look at the country that begins with a G and ends with an A, if you look at what they did there, they don't stop until it's until it's nothing but pavement. I watched an interview with someone that is from the country. It's so annoying. That's why I made Legion183.com, so we don't have to talk like this in code. But that
Yeah, I'm
country that
trying to be
begins with an
safe so I
I
don't get
and ends
anybody in
with an
trouble.
L, that country right there, I'm telling you, they have infiltrated the United States government. They have completely taken over. People here in DC are actually afraid of that little country. And that right there, I'm going to tell you this too, and a lot of people don't understand this, but we were using AI in our military in this war, and guess what? That the AI had to be reprogrammed when it was about to carry out a mission because it identified who the true enemy was, and that was that little country, not where it was going. So AI even
That's
knows
very
what's going on.
interesting.
That's scary
That's
right
very
there.
interesting. I guess I was under the assumption that Trump had a lot of military advisors that, and Trump's more of a businessman, you know, and so I think the two can get convoluted sometimes. But sometimes, my dad served in Vietnam, and it probably wasn't something we should ever been involved in. My parents used to get death threats. And my mom was, I mean, he was gone for a year and a half or something like that. And you never know if they're coming home. But all these families that are, related to somebody in the military go through a lot of struggling, and they go through their own post traumatic. I know I did, because you just don't know. You don't know if they're ever coming home. And, you're sending your kid off to war, and it's like, that's got to be the scariest thing. And they sometimes can communicate with you, but it's very rare. And then he would go on secret missions, and they can't tell you.
Did you
And, well,
know
I never
that
asked, but
Vietnam? Did you know that Vietnam was actually, it all began with a false flag? That you're right, we should have never been there. Vietnam,
it didn't need to. We shouldn't have been. And I don't want to offend anybody, but I don't think we should have ever been involved.
no, it goes back to the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which happened on August 2nd through 4, 1964. And it's an event that widely regarded as the false flag, or more precisely, the fabricated pretext that escalated and effectively launched major U.S. combat involvement in the Vietnam War. It was not a classic false flag operation in which the U.S. staged an attack on its own forces, but the Johnson administration knowingly relied on exaggerated and ultimately false intelligence about the Second North Vietnamese attack to secure congressional authorization for war. But you know what? That doesn't even matter with this administration because if Trump wants to do it, he's just going to do it. Did he? He just look what he
Yeah,
did
he's
to
kind of,
in
he's.
Venezuela. Look what he did in Venezuela. He went in there and picked the president out. Okay, and there was and who was it? Marco Rubio couldn't answer a simple question when he was being interviewed. If they went in and took Donald Trump out of the United States, but there was nobody died, it only took 4 hours or whatever, would that be an act of war? And he would not answer. Of course, it would be an act of war. It would be an act of war if someone come in and took our president. 100%. You think we're going to let that slide? No. And now he's talking about Greenland. He's starving out the Cubans right now. This guy is evil. Look what he's doing. He's like, oh, down here in Cuba, we're going to get a deal going with them because, they're in a
Yeah,
reasonable place.
I did read that. I did, and I'm like, what? And because that's also a dictatorship, as far as I know. And it's ironic because it's almost like he's performing like a dictator, and he's going to take a, he's all about the money and ego. And I understand he can get business done, much respect, but sometimes you're getting off the cuff, and you got to calm down.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even think, yeah, there's some ego playing out here, but I don't think it's financial at all right now. I really don't. I think it's blackmail.
Um,
I think there's
it's
dirt on
what?
him. And I have
It's what?
video on my website. If you go to my website, when it comes to
Okay.
those files that were released, go to my website and click on exclusive videos, and you'll see videos of Trump in compromising situations. And I will tell you
Oh.
right now, they have that on him, and I can post stuff on that on my website because
Well,
I own that website, and that's proof
here,
of
here,
these things that
if
he's
I know
done.
what you're referring to, are you referring to the e files?
Obviously, yes.
Okay, so here's my thing. Because I try to keep a even keeled, open mind. I mean, I'm not going to get swayed, but I like to hear both sides. I would like to hear your side, and then make a responsible decision. But just everybody that's on that manifesto or list, it doesn't necessarily, I'm not talking about Trump. I'm just saying, in general, that some people just went there to do business and they had no clue what was going on. Like they just flew in for a day, made a business deal, and left.
They went there. A lot of them went there. They were, coerced into going there. Some of them, and they were put in compromising situations. Some of them did
Yeah.
go there, and nothing happened. I will agree with you on that, 100%.
Yeah, I don't think everybody's guilty. I don't.
No, I don't either. But there's actual
To a
photos.
party and you didn't know what was going on.
Right, but when you're actually there's real photographs of you with these kind of people, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
like the adult ones. I'm talking about the younger ones, and you got photos of that,
Yeah,
and you
but
can
then you've
see
got
that on my
AI.
website. If I were to
Yeah.
post that here, obviously, bam,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, and but with AI and I don't know how to Photoshop, so whatever, forgive me. But I don't even know if those pictures are real. I'd have to run it through, something and see if it's actually legit.
exactly, and that's exactly what I did, and it is. And I put the footnotes in there and everything. I give you guys the screenshots of what AI said about it, why it's real, why it's not fake. I always like I usually come on here about 7 p.m. every night, but I wanted to come on earlier today because of the situation. We're on that deadline right now, and there's a lot of people and they're familiar with me, and I'm telling you, I always give evidence. I always give sources. Like when I'm on here and I'm reading about
Yeah, I like to have the
declassified CIA
resources, so
files, I
something to
always give
back
the
it up.
number.
Well, I mean, just on a side note, I watched a bit and look at Biden. I mean, I saw it on national TV, and he was doing inappropriate things to these girls on freaking national. And I forgive because I think the man has dementia or something. I think he's used as a pawn. He's a pawn, and people are just like pulling his strings like a puppet.
Yeah, I will say this. When it comes to Biden, I do believe that yes, he definitely had some mental issues. 100%. He was checking out. I think he's even got cancer or something now, if I remember right. I could have sworn I remember hearing he had.
Did you notice that, like, I don't even know what part of the term he was in, but all of a sudden they're like, "Whoa!" And I think he got a facelift or something. But he looked amphibian. Like
And I
it
hear
just didn't
about
look right.
that, like a mask and stuff like that. I hear about that all
Yeah,
the time, but I
and
don't
that's
buy into it.
conspiracy. That's
Yeah.
conspiracy. We don't know. We don't know. But as far as the immigration issue, um, my stance is this: if you're here legally, cool. But if you look at statistics, the crimes that were committed are so vicious. And you saw what happened to that lady on the subway or train or whatever you call it. Oh my God, that was terrifying. Uh, and I believe that person had a mental illness. I wouldn't call it a racist thing, even though he said the words he said. I think he was just very ill. But at the same time, she just came out of the Ukraine to make a better life for herself. And she's working, working hard and then trying to get home. That's all she was trying to do. Um, it's really sad. I live in Alaska and I know no one's going to believe this. No one's going to believe it. Okay. But we have gangs up here. We do. We have shootings. We have drug. You know what? S. Can I say that?
Yeah, you
And
got to
we
be
have,
very careful with what you say. But listen, this is
okay. We
about the
have
deadline, and I don't want to
illegal
get too far. So
illegal
I've had
or
you on for a while, so I'm gonna
not
let some other people come up here. I appreciate you
okay.
coming up, though. Thank you very much. If anybody else wants to come up, there has been people that have been trying to come up here and talk. I apologize if you want to come up, and if you have anything to talk about tonight. I want to be. This is what tonight's about, guys. It's about the deadline tonight. It's about the deadline that's going on right now and the consequences that the entire world may face as a result of whatever happens tonight. Little Southern requests to be a guest. There's no request on here right now. Where is she? If she can type in the chat, I can try to invite her. Oh, there she is. There. I just sent you an invite. She said she's at work. Yes, exactly, guys. Just watch it. Just obey the TikTok guidelines. That's all I ask you to do. There's certain things you could say in here, and there's certain things you can't. And if you say the wrong thing and it's by mistake, we mute you for like 30 seconds just to get it out of the chat. And then if you do it again, it's you get banned. We don't mess around. Because a lot of people do try to sabotage, and we don't appreciate that.
Hello,
Hello,
how are you?
I am good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine, but I'm not happy at all. I woke up very angry when regarding all these threats, and I'm so concerned. Like I have no words right now. I'm tongue tied, like literally tongue tied, because it's inconceivable that a president of a country that we all respected so much would go down to this level. you know it's inconceivable. I always think about that doomsday clock they told us about when we were in school. They always talked about it, how scientists have this virtual clock that they used to portray how close we are to a nuclear obliteration. you know and we're literally like hours away from that right now, because this thing is huge. Why is Donald Trump not worried about retaliation? Why is not worried about the American people? Just because there's nothing happening on American soil now does not mean it won't happen in the future. Is he not thinking about the future? That his actions today will impact tomorrow?
I completely agree with you. And guys, listen, I'm gonna do one at a time. Like I'm gonna give her some time right now. But this is for exactly what she's doing right now. You guys can step up and voice your opinions and concerns about this deadline and the potential consequences. And like she was saying, is he not worried about retaliation and stuff like that? Guys, what she is saying is 100% true. If we follow through with either option, that means nuclear weapons or bombing civilian stuff, we become public enemy number one, and there will be a bullseye on this country.
That's it. That's it. And that's what I'm worried about. That is what I'm worried about.
And I
You
think
know,
I think we're all worried about that. I think we all can feel it. Like I was saying earlier in this program, I do a lot of lives, and everybody always has this feeling that we're on the cusp of something very significant in a bad way that's about to take place. We all can feel that. And it coming to a head tonight? Is it tonight that we're feeling?
You know, you know what I think about? Remember when that 9/11 incident happened in the cockpit where those brave men they stormed the cockpit so that the plane would not go and hit the Pentagon? Those brave heroes who were patriotic Americans did what they could. They knew that they were going down, but they had to save the Pentagon, right? Those were patriots. I wonder who are the patriots right now in the American government. Who will be brave enough to remove Donald Trump before it's too late?
And you know,
Before it's too late. The clock is ticking. And one more thing I want to say before I go. Kudos to all of you Americans who are on the side of justice. Okay? Kudos to all of you. Despite this man warmongering and pushing a very racist agenda, so many things, many of you of different ethnicities are standing up against him in your own ways. And I'm so proud of you guys who are doing that. And I just want to encourage you guys to keep calling that number. I saw the number on the comment section earlier. Keep calling that number. That's what you can do right now because there's no other choice.
and,
Okay?
and and you know what? Thank you so much. I don't know where you are in the world, but I will tell you this right now, and I can speak for a lot, probably most Americans. Nobody wants what's going on right now. Even the Trump supporters do not approve of what he's doing right now. They think he's lost his mind.
And that's all I want to say. Thank you for having me up here. Love and peace to all of you. And let's keep hoping for the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Yeah, guys. So I just want to do one at a time. You know what I mean? It's easier to do when there's one at a time. I don't got to worry about all these different microphones, muting one, muting two. You know what I mean? I just want to deal with one at a time. If what is your opinion about the deadline? What do you think's going to happen? What do you think the consequences are going to be? Now's your chance to get up and share with the world what you feel. Just if you come up here, just be respectful. And, in the chat, please respect who's on the microphone and whoever gets on the mic or video or whatever. Be respectful. Just everybody be respectful. That's it. You know what I mean? I just wish that, there wasn't no such thing as nuclear weapons. I think the only thing nuclear weapons should be used for is an alien invasion or a like an asteroid coming in. Other than that, that's it. And I think the nuclear weapons should be stored up in space, not down here on Earth. And that way, they can take care of whatever threats may come from space, not from the Earth. You know, one of the astronauts on Artemis 2 said it very well. He said that you guys are looking at us and we're on a spaceship and we're far away from you. He's like, yes, but we're far away from you too, looking at the Earth, which is in itself a spaceship. That's our little oasis in this vast void of nothingness that lets us live and thrive. The Earth as a giant spaceship, which is very true. Because in reality, that's kind of what it is. If you think about it, sure, it's a planet, yes, but we build spaceships to, you know, mimic a little planet, a little oasis, a place to survive in the vast darkness of space. Trump advocate for us more than we do here. And listen, guys, I agree with a lot of what Donald Trump has done. I do. And I'm telling you, I really, really felt something good with him. But I can still appreciate what he has done for us, but disagree with what he is doing right now. And with what he is doing right now, I completely disagree with. I completely disagree with. The United States is where I'm at. I'm in the United States. Why does he choose death? Does he want to take everyone with him? Sometimes it seems that way. It really does. Hello.
Hey, how are y'all?
I'm doing very well. What are your thoughts of, well, let me ask first, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. All I can say is President Trump that lost his damn mind. That's all I can sit here and say. Like, I know for one, I voted for him, and to waking up to all this news, headlines about giving a deadline and all of that. But like, I feel like as a president, you would take accountability for your American people. You're not taking accountability. You only care about what you want, what you're going to get. Like and I feel like I understand that there's Americans that are over there and they're battling and they're doing certain things in these wars, but like and that there was like 15 American soldiers that were injured, but like to put us all at risk. And I have cousins who are the Marines, military. My husband is in the Air Force. Like this is the most scariest thing you could possibly encounter.
Yep, I completely agree. My family was in the military too. My brother was, and he's got a lot of friends that are in the military, and the things that they are saying to him is absolutely scary. Nobody's seen anything like this before. Nobody has
No.
witnessed a president in the United States talking like this, acting like this, making threats like this, openly saying that he's going to commit war crimes. Openly saying it, not hiding it, just saying it flat out.
Well, like I was seeing a interview on somebody asking if this was a war crime, and before he let anybody really finish what they were saying, he was like, "No, no, it's not." But the only one who could declare war crime would be the courts, and
If he starts bombing civilian infrastructure, okay, that is a war crime. 100% a
correct.
war crime. If he starts even bridges and stuff like that, if it's civilian stuff, it's war crimes. And we already committed a war crime. If you look at that, what was it, a place where there was a bunch of girls that, was it a school? I think it was a school that we hit.
I think it was.
Yeah, yeah, that right there was a war crime. And the thing that scares me is before we really got involved with, the country that begins with an I and ends with an L, before we got involved with them, the military behavior was nothing like it is right now. But now we are mimicking the way they perform their war against the country that begins with a G and ends with an A. We are acting like that now, and that scares me.
Right. And like the thing about China, like China wants to blow us from here to Kingdom Come, and he's not thinking about his people. Like if you back to war with Iran, what's going to happen?
And here's the thing: if let's say the United States were to go into a war with China, China alone, that would be our greatest test, for sure. But you got to think about this. We are depleted. We are low on interceptor munitions. We fund so many proxy wars that isn't even funny. We talk about all these threats come out. All these what do they call it? Roadside bombs. They come out of Iran. But really, I mean, look, we're funding Ukraine to do all this different stuff to Russia. We're not so good ourselves. I mean, if we look in the mirror, if you really look in the mirror, we're not that great. And I'm quoting Sean Ryan here. If you guys ever watched the Sean Ryan show, really good show.
Hmm.
Ex special op guy right there. He said, you know what? The more I look at it, the more I do not believe that we are the good guys. And that's coming from a special operator in the military.
Yeah. And waking up to stuff like that, it's the most scariest thing in the world, not knowing, And I know that we're on a deadline, and I really hope that our president comes through and makes some type of a deal. But I don't know. I think he's lost his mind.
Yeah, yeah. I was a strong Donald Trump supporter, a very strong supporter until all of this started playing out. I had a dream a long time ago, and I even documented it and posted it on my TikTok. And that dream was June 13th, 2025. And what I seen was a huge coffin on the beach at night, an abandoned beach, and there was an American flag over that coffin, and there was a big light that was shining down on it. And when I walked up to that coffin, it said June 13th, 2025. And that just so happens to be the same day that the country that begins with an I and ends with an L attacked Iran. And then right after that came Operation Midnight Hammer. I thought, you know what? It's over now. The nukes are gone. But here we are again.
hmm Like I mean, like I I am a mortician. I work inside of a funeral home, and you know, I know and like I said, I mean, like I voted for this man. I did everything under the sun, thinking, okay, that he did great the last 4 years of his office, and then he was on top with JD Vance, and then like all of a sudden the relationship he had with JD it done went all downhill.
Yeah, there's a clip of Donald Trump sitting at his desk, and you got J.D. Vance in the back, and then there's someone else. I forget who it is in the background standing by J.D. Vance, and then you hear Donald Trump talk about Iran, and he's talking about annihilating them, and they turned around and shook their heads. That clip went viral. You guys should look that up. They're not in agreement, and actually, I hear there's a little tension between J.D. Vance and Donald Trump right now.
Yeah, and also like I mean, I know me and my son. He's 19. He's my oldest one of them all. And I got four young kids who are minors, and my 19-year-old. He's my fifth one. But we were sitting there and we were talking, and he said there was a video that went viral about a guy that had a premonition or some type of dream about Trump getting the A word. It went down from like to who this guy was and who he was wearing and all of that. And I was like, wow, that's just crazy, And I feel like everything that's happening right now is probably in that era of the way.
I will tell you this. I used to be one of those people, back in the day when I was younger. There would be a few severe thunderstorms back to back, and I'd be like, oh my God, we're in the end of days. You know what I mean? And then I grew up and
Yeah.
I matured, and I wasn't like that. But now, as a mature 46-year-old man, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, I truly believe that we are in close to the 7 year tribulation, if not in it right now.
And I agree. And I really think at this point, we just need a ceasefire. We need to let it go. And we need to clear, everything right now. Like, there are innocent people that are going to get killed if we don't. And I'm really hoping that our president can.
You said you're a mother, and imagine what the women in Iran are doing right now. There are videos of them begging Trump, do not unalive our babies. That's what's
Yep.
going around right now. Do not unalive our babies. They're
Yep.
desperate. They're scared to
And
death.
it's killing, like it's breaking my heart because as a mother and as like I said, I'm a mortician. Like I work inside of a funeral home. I'm an embalmer. I do all that type of stuff. And it breaks my heart to see these parents losing their babies and having to bury them or have them cremated, and it's breaking my heart seeing all these parents on here pleading to a president that is acting ungrateful, acting like he's just so power hungry.
And another thing too, President Trump at first he was saying, now's the time, take over your government, do this, do that, help is coming. That's what he would post on his truth social. He would post stuff like that, but how is bombing bridges and power plants and putting them in the dark? How is that going to help the Iranian people? By him saying that, that's saying, you know what, I could care less about your lives. Because when he says, I will end an entire civilization in one night, that says to me, the only thing that can do that is nuclear weapons. That's it.
Yeah.
And if that happens, the world changed in 1 second. And not for the good, for the bad.
I feel like he's turned into this stone cold hearted person that don't care what he does, and he's just gonna ruin these people's lives. And as a mother, I could feel their pain, because not only does it scare me about what's gonna happen to us if we decide to, not, make some type of a plan or some type of a peace or anything like that, but we go hardcore, that's gonna give our enemies, the fine line to say, okay, you went after them, we're coming after you.
You
And I
know,
have a feeling that theirs is going to be a little bit more harder because we lack a lot of what they don't have, that what they have.
what I think is going to happen here, guys, and I'm going to tell you, this is just what I think. I think if we do bomb civilian infrastructure tonight or the use of nuclear weapons, there are other major powers in this world. It's not just the United States. And I think that they're all going to come against the United States. They're going to say enough is enough. We all got one singular thing in common, and that is that the United States is out of control. Let's stop them right now. And I think that's where we're heading. If Trump doesn't put his boot on the brake, then we're in trouble. We're in deep trouble, guys, if he doesn't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is, what I heard. I don't know the truth behind it or not. But I heard that, Trump killed like 5 people that were in control
Don't
of one
use
of
the
the
word. Don't. You
countries.
can't say that word. You got to stay on the live, or you could get this whole show
Oh,
shut down. Yeah. Watch
okay.
and don't say the country of Israel. Just don't use Israel in any kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, when, Trump unalived 5 other individuals, and apparently he's trying to take over that country. And I was like, huh. I never heard that. Now, I mean, that could be rumor, that could be true. I don't know, but I've never heard of it. But I hear people talking about it, so the truth of it happening, I don't know.
Are you talking about Venezuela taking over Venezuela? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
couldn't
that's
remember
a
which one, but
right now. If you were to ask me about Venezuela, I think Trump went in there. I'm just going to mute you while I talk. I think Trump went in there and with one purpose, and I think that purpose was oil. I think he went down there to get the oil for sure. And he ultimately knew that it would choke off Cuba, so that's going to force them to make a deal that they would never make with us otherwise because they survived off Venezuela. So that's a very easy way for Trump to make a deal with them, and who knows? Maybe they even become part of the United States. Maybe Venezuela does. I don't know. All I know is it's about oil, and not only that, if we occupy Cuba, we can't have the Cuban Missile Crisis happen all over again because they would be unable to put missiles on that island if we act or island. You know what I mean? They put missiles in that country, they want to be able to do that if obviously if it's dictated by the United States.
right. And then, I'm just gonna say this, like, before I get off here. Like, I knew something was not right, especially when I woke up this morning when my gas prices went up almost $2. It was like 2.79 yesterday, and then now it's $4. And I was like, we're gonna get hit with something, and that's not a funny feeling.
Yeah, I mean, if this strait doesn't open up, which the only way Iran is going to open up the Strait of Hormuz is if we end the war. But I don't understand how them terms are not acceptable. I mean, what haven't we done already? Trump says we completely taken out their military and everything about them, but yet they're still sending missiles into different countries. I don't think we're being told the truth here, guys. I think there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than what we know of, and I think that there's a lot of stuff being fed in the media to make us believe something that's not really taking place.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And like I said, I feel like we're not going to be told the truth. And I think that's like, I'm not a very political person. I don't really like to talk about politics because that's just something that, I've never really been into. Yes, I vote. Voting is, something that I do because it helps me voice who I want to be and voice what I believe is best for this world. But then also, too, I've learned, here within the last, I don't know, past year that, um, they're not going to be 100% with us because they don't want us to be prepared. While they have underground bunkers, we don't.
Right, and here's the thing, guys. When it comes to nuclear war, the very simple answer is there is nowhere to go. If you look at Hawaii when they had that false alarm in 2018, what did everybody do? They ran around panicking, wondering where they can possibly go. There's only there are some mail rooms or like mail where they do mail and stuff like post offices, that's what I'm trying to say, that actually were used as bomb shelters. But I don't know if any of those are still in commission. I do know that a hospital close to me has a bomb shelter. Some hospitals do, like I said. But other than that, guys, it's fend for yourselves. But the president, who is all this is calling all these shots. He's got places to go. He's got safety, They got things to preserve the evil government. Like, if anything gets preserved, it should be the citizens. Not it should be a complete revamp of government. Not the government. I can't stand it. That's the only people that'll be safe and saved is the evil government that brought us to that moment.
And I couldn't agree more because I hate to say it, we're gonna be screwed no matter what direction we end up going because, like I said, if he doesn't agree, and I don't really think Trump is going to come up with some type of a treaty and say, okay, I trended this, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, we're gonna make this world a better place. He's gonna be like, no, it's either y'all do what I say, or we're gonna go at this. And I have a feeling Trump is not gonna be an easy negotiator on this one.
No, I mean, all Iran wants is the war to stop. I think Trump's pretty much fulfilled what's going on. He says that who is in charge now, the regime, is not really that dramatically radicalized. He said that they're a little more easy to deal with, so that's taken care of, okay? Their nuclear
Mm-hmm.
weapons and capabilities have been taken care of. Their military's been taken care of. What is the end game? And that then it takes me back to ushering in Armageddon. Where are we? Is it really going to come to that? And I might answer that.
We don't really know.
Have you?
But I mean, like, I saw those videos of these mothers pleading to this man, don't kill my kids, don't kill our babies, please, because and unfortunately, I don't know if he's going to listen. And
Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to take you off because you're using that word that begins with a K, and you can't use that on here, or I get in trouble. And I know it's not your fault. I know it's stupid. It's stupid that we can't say that on here, and that's why I say go to my website. Legion183.com. It's where you can actually speak like real. You don't gotta speak in code. But unfortunately, I just think that you might say that, a few more times, and they flag words, and then that falls back on me. So I apologize for having to discontinue you, but I completely understand where you're coming from, and I agree with what you're saying. I really do. I really do. I just can't have that word said, or else it flags me. What I'm doing right now, guys, is I'm just looking on X here. I'm looking at some updates here about this deadline. Okay, here we go. This was 3 hours ago. The 8 p.m. deadline for Iran to make a deal is happening. Negotiations in good faith. Okay, 33 minutes ago, breaking. President Donald Trump reveals Iran is rapidly negotiating with the United States right now as Pakistan requests a 2-week extension on the power plant and bridge deadline. Funny because Iran bragged that they cut off U.S. negotiators not that long ago. Let me see here.
Prime Minister, I know him very well. He's a highly respected man. Negotiations with that deadline just 4 hours away. He said, I really can't tell you how we're feeling right now because we're in the middle of heated negotiations. I said, so the conversation is happening then? He said, yes, of course. Why wouldn't they be talking, given the circumstances, basically? I asked him his view on this request from Pakistan's Prime Minister for a 2-week deadline. He said that he was about to be fully briefed on it in about 5 minutes, and said, I can tell you this, that this man, the Prime Minister, I know him very well. He's a highly respected man all over. This is what the Prime Minister had asked in that post that you referenced earlier. Diplomatic efforts for a peaceful settlement of the ongoing war in the Middle East are progressing steadily, strongly, and powerfully, with the potential to lead to substantive results in the near future. To allow diplomacy to run its course, I earnestly request President Trump to extend the deadline for 2 weeks. Pakistan, in all sincerity, requests the Iranian brothers to open the Strait of Hormuz for a corresponding period of time as a goodwill gesture. Now, as Caroline Levitt said, the president has been made aware of this, and the White House will be sending its response. But of course, the deadline is just a few hours away. We are also aware of a call he had with another outlet where he commented on what Iran has been doing in the interim, instructing civilians with negotiations with the deadline just 4 hours away. He said, I really can't tell you how we're feeling right now because...
Alright, so there you go on that, guys. That is an update, and I'm constantly browsing X here, and it's all over. Iran has called on young people to form human chains around critical infrastructure as Trump's deadline for Tehran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz looms. Wow, they are doing it, guys. They are doing it right now. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there are civilians lining up on bridges right now and around power plants in Iran right now to act as a human shield so that we will not bomb those areas. As you can see, that's taking place in Iran right now, guys. They are pleading with our president as we speak, for their lives. For their lives. Imagine that. Your life literally depends on this man's decision. Oh man, I will tell you what. I would hate to be Donald Trump when he does eventually pass away and has to answer to Jesus. I'll tell you, I would not want to be in his predicament on that one. But anybody that has an opinion, you're welcome to come up here and talk. Do you think that we're going to see a deal be made? What do you guys think here? You think there's going to be a deal? You think we're going to go nuclear? Or do you think it's just going to be bombs dropping? And either or, what do you think the consequences are going to be? That's an interesting one right there. What is going to happen as a result of either or? We got the President of the United States outright saying straight up that he's about to commit war crimes. That's what he's saying out loud. So the whole world hears, guys. The whole world is hearing us. And, they remember. I hope it's a peace deal. The war needs to stop. I agree. Yeah, we're gonna go nuclear. I really do feel it. Donald Trump, he wants what he wants, and he's going to do it. That man is a compulsive liar, just like his father, Lucifer. So, Rose thinks we're gonna go nuclear. Not a war crime. It is a war crime if you start bombing civilian stuff. And I believe it was a war crime if we did that on purpose, where all those young girls were unalived, that would be a war crime. If that was intentional and it wasn't accidental, that would be a war crime. You could not hit a power plant with radioactive power. I don't think they have nuclear power plants in Iran. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe that Iran has nuclear power plants. I don't believe they do. I'm gonna look that up actually. I think that's why they were saying they wanted to enrich their uranium is so they could do stuff like that, like nuclear power plants. Let me see here. Okay, Iran has one operational nuclear power plant, which is called BNPP/Unit 1, which has been active since 2011 and provides about 2% of the country's electricity. Says the plant, largely constructed with Russian assistance, operates under International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, monitoring, although it has faced safety concerns and attacks during regional conflicts. So they do have a nuclear power plant. I did not know that. I didn't think they had any nuclear power plants. So imagine if there's a nuclear meltdown. You got to think about that too. If you cut power, if you cut the power to stuff like that, you could have a nuclear meltdown. If they're not able to cool that thing down, it could be another major disaster. Yep, it would make a meltdown. And we all know what happens whenever there's meltdowns, guys. And there would be no units able to respond. There would be no power, period. They already have no internet or anything over there. The United States just blacked everything out. And it's like this too, guys. It's like this, if it goes nuclear, it's not just that country that's going to face, the disaster. The entire world will actually, or at least regional. It depends on how bad they go. If it's like a tactical nuke here and maybe a tactical nuke there, I don't know. I do look at it like this too. A lot of you guys don't realize it, but there's been over 2,000 detonations on planet Earth, and with testing bombs. So, and we're doing pretty good radiation-wise if you think about it, but I don't know. I don't really know exactly how it would work out if I don't understand tactical nukes that much as opposed to, the major intercontinental nukes. I just know that a tactical nuke is much less severe, but from what I was reading, it could vaporize like tens of thousands of people instantly. So, that's still really, really bad. And I will look on X too, guys. I'll go back there and see if I could get any more updates. Trying to update you guys as this story plays out. Let's just see here. And like I said, if any of you want to stand up and speak your piece. Alright, let's see here. Okay. This right here, let me see. Update: U.S. Air Force B-2 or B-52 Stratofortress strategic bombers just departed from the United Kingdom and could reach Iran by the time of the President Trump's 8 p.m. deadline for Iran. So we have the Air Force has just sent out the B-52 Stratofortress strategic bombers. They departed from the United Kingdom and they are within range of that 8 p.m. deadline. Who? Let me see. Ask again. Just ask again. I'm sorry, I was reading updates. I didn't see anybody. What is this? Oh, I see. Alright, we'll bring on Diane. One at a time, guys. Hello, Diane. Hello, Diane. Are you with us? Are you with us? I don't think Diane's there. These are the only two, man, that I have. I had her, and there was one more, I think. Let me see here. Jess. Jess, if you're there, I'm letting you on right now. Hello, Jess. So what's up? What's on your mind?
Well, I've been reading a lot and I come from an area which I won't disclose that location, but I'll just say I live in an area where we used to have a nuclear power plant with nuclear gas, but they've done away with that. And just been watching a lot of stuff fall, and military connections too. And I do believe that Trump's going to do something. Not sure what. He's always one that you don't know what game he's playing and what he's leading us to believe will happen tonight by 8 p.m. I feel like we're all going to be watching the news or whatever outlets we can get, and there's usually always like a distraction in play. So I'm questioning that tonight because there's always some sort of distraction, but I am worried about if they do go after that nuclear power plant, like what the fallout effects will be, and the fact that things have been put up there all over stating, the bombers are going that way, that they want to wipe out the entire, we'll say with the I, uh, people, they want to take them all out. And I don't understand how that's going to solve anything at this point. And just kind of fearful for like where I live in the retaliation, that will take place where we are. Because if he does something like that, they will definitely retaliate back, into like U.S. states. We're sending tons of our troops over and not really getting the right outlets. They're not giving us the right information. So you really have to search to see, and ship after ship is leaving out with soldiers on it and our military. And I feel like we're in some really uncertain times. And yet he's the one that's going to be able to pull the trigger on everything. And that's making a lot of people really nervous, or the ones that are awake, anyways, I should say, are really nervous.
You know, I have to look at it like this too. In this circumstance, like the situation that's playing out right now, if I were, because you got to go through, there's a chain of events or chain of people you got to go through to launch a nuclear weapon. I don't believe Donald Trump could just do it on his own. I'm telling you right now, if I was in charge of launching a nuclear weapon on Iran tonight, I would not do it. I would disobey orders, and I would strongly encourage the United States military to really think before they hit that button. To really think before they hit that button.
I do think that it was through like a chain of command, is what I once was told. That it was like a chain of command in order to be able to hit that detonate button, that there's like multiple steps to get that done. But it doesn't sound like any of those laws apply to him anymore. I feel like he could get it done without, anybody actually going through those chain of commands to get it done. Somehow he's able to pass through all of that. So nothing would surprise me at this point, honestly.
All right,
Yeah,
Aura, let me
exactly.
ask you
Like he's
this.
got some kind of
Let,
glitch in the
all
matrix.
right,
All those
hold on one
firewalls,
second,
red
guys.
tape, secret handshakes.
No, stop. All right. Alright, tell me what has to take place for the United States to actually launch a nuclear weapon? Can President Trump do it on his own? Is there a chain of command that it's got to go through? What's the deal?
Um,
No, we, it's thinking.
Alright, straight up. No, Trump, or any president, can't just flip a switch solo like in the movies. But yeah, he's got the final say, and it's scary how little stands between him and boom. The deal? Sole authority. The Constitution calls him Commander in Chief, so legally, he orders it, that's it. No Congress vote, no court okay, no committee veto. Military brass, like the Joint Chiefs or STRATCOM, can advise, warn him it's nuts, even try talking him down in that emergency
Alright. There's a delay button every time I go to unmute you. There we go, come on. Alright. There, sorry about
Oh,
that.
you're okay. I feel like it's really scary if he is the ultimate say in it, but I mean, any president is, but it's just like stuff's moving so fast. I don't know if he's rationally thinking through everything. And we'll just say with the uh, assistant behind him, we'll say, people are saying if anything happens to Trump, that they don't know that VA and CE will do the same actions as what Trump's making, and I think a lot of people would rather see Vance as that president, but I don't know. And we have a lot of questions going around too because of all the drones that were flown, that were vehicle-sized drones that were flown all over in so many cities, rural areas, just all over the U.S. in general, and then all these meteors, as they're calling them, that are just all of a sudden everyone's capturing on videos of them falling, but yet they're not falling. They're kind of like guided and then falling, and they're calling them meteors, but yet NASA's only kind of documented a couple of them. And everybody's like, those aren't meteors, they're missiles or whatever being either blown up that have came over here, or ones that they're like test firing or something. So, I mean, there's just so much going on, and that's not even obviously being shown on our news, but that's, common that they don't show everything on the news. Like, you have to be able to do your own research, and like even use outlets to look over at like Iran and see what's on like their news. I feel like if you want to really know what's going on, we got to dig deeper. But how do you prepare? Like, how does each country prepare for these events?
Right, and I've been hearing a lot of talk about the 25th Amendment, so I just wanted to clear up what exactly that means. And guys, the 25th Amendment to the United States Constitution addresses presidential succession and disability. It was ratified in 1967, largely in response to the assassination of, hold on a second, of President JFK, and earlier, such as President Eisenhower's health issues and the deaths of Presidents Harding and Kennedy. Let me just skip through all this. So, what happens when a president dies, resigns, is removed from office, or becomes unable to perform their duties? It has 4 sections. Section 1, if the president is removed from office, dies, or resigns, the vice president becomes president, not just acting president. This clarifies what was unclear in Constitution and the Presidential Succession Act, alright? Section 2. If the vice presidency becomes vacant, the president nominates a replacement who takes office only after confirmation by a majority vote in both the House and Senate. This has been used twice, Gerald Ford, 1973, and Nelson Rockefeller in 1974. All right, so here's section 3 of the 4. The president can voluntarily transfer power by sending a written declaration to the Speaker of the House and the President pro tempore of the Senate, stating they are unable to discharge the powers and duties of the office. The Vice President then serves as acting president until the President sends another written declaration stating they are unable to resume their duties. This has been invoked several times for short periods. Alright, so the last one here, Section 4. This is the most complex, controversial provision. If the Vice President and the majority of principal officers of the executive departments, the cabinet, or any other body of Congress may designate by law, transmit a written declaration that the president is unable to discharge their duties, the vice president immediately becomes acting president. The president can contest this by sending a counter declaration if the vice president and cabinet or the other body reaffirm their position within 4 days. Congress must assemble and decide the issue. A 2/3 vote in both houses is required to keep the vice president as acting president. Otherwise, the president resumes power. Section 4 has never been invoked. So that's what they're talking about. Section 4.
So there was a lot of people that I seen in some other chats that had questions regarding if they did do action tonight as far as like nuking, bombing, etc. over in Iran, and if Trump did go through with everything that he's saying that will happen, people, that are like in the United States, I've even seen it for Canada, other places, wondering if they would put in something that was like a stay in place type order, like with military or anything, because of like the threat obviously being so high with retaliation back. And I was like, I honestly don't think that they would, enforce that right now. Like, I don't feel like that they would put a stay home order type in place right now, with military at this moment, unless if they felt that there was like a absolute gigantic threat to a lot of places like within like the United States. Have you, seen anything about that or read anything about that? Because I've seen it on some other sources.
I mean, I've been hearing all kinds of talk that's going on around here right now, but I will tell you this, when it comes down to the 25th Amendment and the 4 sections of it, I've never even heard of it until today, actually. And just like you, I've been seeing it brought up on X. There was people in my chat talking about it. They're still talking about it, actually. That's why I wanted to look it up and actually see for myself what it really means. And that is true. The vice president, apparently they can do something here where they could remove President Trump. They could look at it. There would need to be a vote and they could actually remove him, saying that he's not capable of doing his duties. So, I mean, it's a real thing. It's a real possibility that they could do that. But
I think
my question is, there are there's aircraft on the way, bombers from the United Kingdom, heading right for Iran right now and expected to be there by the deadline. So it seems to me that nothing is playing out for the good or for the better, and that this is going to go south really, really quick here, guys.
I think you're right too, because during the Biden administration, they were looking at ways to try to get him out of office. And I mean, there were steps that had to be taken to do so, but I know there was a lot of people that wanted to get Biden. They felt he was unfit, couldn't maybe pass like mental testing or anything to stay within office, and they wanted a victim to get him out of there. And I'm hearing that chatter now, where they're wanting to get Trump out of office. But I don't think that they could even get it done quick enough with a deadline like tonight.
Exactly. We're talking, what is it now? It's 5 o'clock. It's 5:02 Eastern time. So we got 3 hours. 3 hours for this deal to be made, or Trump to come to some conclusion, or a different plan, I should say. So like, all we could do right now is pray, because I think you're right there. I don't think we have time to take care of this, like through the 25th Amendment. I don't think we do.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think we just have to sit back and see what tonight plays. He's good about giving extensions on deadlines. Um, he always says that this is, getting corrupt out. I don't know. I just don't try to take either side in it. I just try to roll with whatever's going on, and take care of your family and just stay low on it. But it's hard not to recognize everything, and I feel like ultimately, like, if we started getting nukes back over, into the states, or lots of bombings and power outages and things going on over here, I mean, I don't know. No matter how much you prepare, I don't know how much anybody could be ready for every scenario that could be taking place as retaliation from this. So I just say, like you, just pray and go from there. I mean, I don't think anybody can be too prepared right now.
Yeah, 100%. That's, you look at the people in the Middle East, and they hear bomb sirens and they are walking around outside like it's nothing. If bomb sirens started happening in New York City, you would see a complete panic attack over the entire metropolitan area. I mean, the United States civilians are not used to that kind of activity. You know what I mean? So if something like that were to hit the heartland, I mean, look at 9/11. Look how everybody was reacting then in New York. It was crazy. It was panic in the streets. It was pandemonium.
Yeah, we would be based on, mass chaos. And that was, I mean, I believe that's probably why so much more stuff is, like, as I say, censored on what we see on the news and the outlets we get over here, because they keep stuff under wraps. You have to do the research to find it. I think people, Epstein files, there's so much stuff that's came out that has enraged, people, which rightfully so they should be enraged,
Don't say the full word of the files.
okay.
Just say the files. Everybody
Yeah, the
knows what it
files.
means.
Yeah, the files should enrage anybody, on what you read, but there's so much more, out there that we've never been open to, or let in on. And I think it's people keep the system, go to work, go to school, make money, have time with your family, drive around like everything's perfect every day, like, just to keep your mindset supposedly at peace and not really let you in on the whole thing. Now we're being let in. Now we're able to dig for information. Now we're able to know more of what's going on, and people are really reacting out. Like I said, rightfully they should be, but people are just they're saying people are crazy. Sorry, my phone on my end, but they're saying people are completely crazy. In the way that they're acting, like in the United States, over information that they found and dug up and are reading about. And I'm like, it's only going to get worse. The more knowledge people are getting, all of this happening, people don't know what to do and how to process any of this information. Do you prepare? Do they form groups? Like nobody knows what they're doing over here. So I cannot imagine like air raid sirens, going off over here and how people would react to that, or something bombed, blown up, and then they just keep going to work, and you see it in all these other countries. Like the buildings are just blown away, and yet people are like, gotta go to work today, and it's like, if it was like that in the United States, everything just halts, and everything just stops. So I can't imagine.
Yeah, the latest update as of 4:57 is Pakistan has requested that Trump extend the deadline for Iran, with a
Oh,
source indicating that positive developments are expected soon.
well, I'm not surprised that there would be another deadline put in there. I mean, he is notorious for adding extensions, as he says, or more deadlines. So whether that's good or bad, I mean, I think it could be good. It, it'd be nice if there's some kind of agreement made, but I highly doubt that.
Okay, here's another update right here, guys. Let me see this. Alpha Pro Mega Thorough Analysis. This CNN live update reflects the real Iran crisis on April 7, 26. Trump's whole civilization will, on a live tonight post, Truth Social, is a deadline ultimatum for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz by 8 p.m. tonight, Eastern Time that is, or face infrastructure strikes escalating the prior U.S. Israel actions. Pakistan two-phase ceasefire proposal. So these are things coming in. A ceasefire proposal. They're working at this right now. It appears there's a lot of stuff going on right now. It says diverse sources confirm back channel talks via Pakistan, Egypt continue with Iran, rejecting threats but reviewing the deal. No confirmed strikes as of now. High stakes deterrence versus diplomacy play out right now. So it seems like there's a lot of other countries that are coming to Iran right now to open up that strait. They're trying to get them to open it up, and they're asking Trump to pause to extend the deadline because they expect, based on their talks, Egypt and Pakistan with Iran, that there's going to be a positive outcome. So they're asking President Trump to extend it to give them a little bit more time. That apparently the talks are going well.
That could be positive. I want to thank you for bringing me on too. I know you have multiple that are holding to talk to, and I'm going to stay, in the chat so I can see what people are saying and listen in. But I want you to definitely be able to bring somebody else in because I know it's one at a time. But I appreciate being able to just kind of put out there a few worries and questions and see your thoughts on them too. Because I know down in the chat feed, not all of them get looked at or answered, but thank you so much. That way you can bring the next person on, but hopefully, with an extension, maybe that will be the solve of it. I just there's so much to follow and not know which direction is best, but I never it's never good when human, lives are at stake either way.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. It was a pleasure speaking to you, and just keep praying that something works out for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
All right, so I'm trying to keep up to date with this, guys. I'm on X. I'm looking at all the updates, trying to bring them to you right away here. So apparently, Pakistan and Egypt are talking with Iran right now about opening up the Strait of Hormuz. Apparently, the talks are going good, but there's nothing accomplished just yet. But based on these talks, they are asking President Trump to extend the deadline. So will he extend the deadline? Sorry guys, I'm just had some text messages too. I was just checking. Ceasefire talks. Alright. let's see here. Pop. What was that one? According to the Wall Street Journal, yes, this matches the reporting from U.S. and Arab officials. With Trump's deadline for an Iran deal expiring soon, negotiations have pivoted to pushing for an extension instead of closing a full agreement right now. Things could still shift in the next few hours as talks continue. Yeah, this is crazy, guys. What is this one? Yes, some diplomatic movement. Pakistan's PM proposed a 2-week extension to Trump's deadline, and Iran is positively reviewing it per sources. Trump confirmed he's been briefed on the request and called the talks heated negotiations earlier today. Indirect channels via Pakistan remain active, though no deal yet, and strikes have hit Iranian sites. Deadline hit soon. Watch for updates. So, apparently Trump is saying that, that these, we got someone else. Let me see. Why am I not getting these pop up? There we go. Thank you, Julia.
No. Tại cơ một thường.
Hello.
No. No.
They just disconnected. Maybe they didn't want to talk. I don't know. I didn't see those pop up though. Well, I mean, I was looking down. I was reading. I'm looking for updates as we near 8 p.m. Latest. So that's what's going on right now, guys. The Pakistan is urging Trump to extend the deadline by 2 weeks. And apparently Trump is calling these negotiations extremely heated. I can only imagine the blood pressure between these negotiators right now, man. Two weeks, I mean, that's a long extension right there, 2 weeks. I think Trump just needs to bring American troops home, to be honest with you. That's what I think needs to happen. I think that, you know, if we go in there and we destroy, like, civilian areas and stuff, we're going to end up paying and rebuilding all of that anyway. I mean, we're going to be putting more money into it. Sorry, I just wanted to stay connected. Were you wanting to come back? If you want to come back on, go ahead and request. I'm not sure what you mean by just wanted to stay connected. That's how long it takes to finish the job. Trump is being heavily threatened by what we don't know. You know what, Pearl? I would agree with that. That he is. I would agree with that. And I think I know where that's coming from, too. I think we all can just use our brains and figure out where that threat's coming from. Yep, I agree. I do agree on that. So, I mean, this is what I've been doing, guys. I just come on here to talk to you guys, and I did my little write-up, you know, about what's going on, and then I was just having you guys come on here and talk about what you think about this deadline, and what do you think's going to happen. And everybody is pretty worried right now, that's for sure. And I have to confirm something on an order of mine, guys. Hold on 1 second here. Nope, that's not what I want. No one is requested at all right now. What is this? Two substitutions. Mana, and it is one that you really wanted. You would have to look at this. You guys are gonna have to excuse me for a moment. I gotta run downstairs really quick, and then I will be right back. I'll be right back, guys. Hang tight. Alright, guys. I apologize for that. But I think I'm going to take one more look here. And then probably come back on later. Yeah, that's still the same situation right now. Nothing has changed yet. I'm just scrolling through. So nothing official yet. There's negotiations going on right now. You got Pakistan and you got Egypt that have been talking with Iran. They're calling it productive. Trump is calling it heated exchanges. I gotta spit my candy out, guys. There, though, I don't gotta talk enough for candy, guys. But I'll tell you what, that's probably gonna do it for me for now. I will come back on here later, for sure. And we'll see what the situation entails then. So, I'm gonna go ahead and, let me see here. Where am I at? Alright, guys. I'm gonna do one quick prayer here, and then we'll come back on here later. So as we come to the end of this live together, we're gonna do a prayer. If everybody wouldn't mind bowing your heads really quick. Heavenly Father, as we come to this time, or the end of this time together, I just want to thank you. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your protection and for every word that was spoken and received. Lord, I ask that you seal this moment in the hearts and minds of everyone listening and for everything going on around the world, and especially this conflict. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, Yeshua, Yahweh, the one and only true God. Amen. So that is all for now, guys. I love you all. This is Michael Leonard signing off.